Welcome to Confessions of a Terrible Leader, where real leaders share the raw truth about the lessons they learned the hard way so you don't have to. Join our host, Layci Nelson, founder of Transcend Leadership Collective and former terrible leader. Every leader can become worthy of being followed if they are willing to put in the work. On this podcast, we share the messy stories and behind-the-scenes reality of what the work actually entails. We welcome you to this community of revolutionary leaders who believe honest communication, healthy conflict, and building cultures of acceptance, respect, and trust are not only possible, but non-negotiable for cultivating world-class teams.
Hello, and welcome back to Confessions of a Terrible Leader. This is Layci Nelson, your podcast host and former terrible leader. I am coming to you live today from SeaTac International Airport. Well, not live, I'm recording it, but when you listen to it. So please give Mary all of the applause if this sounds remarkable, because I'm sure I did not make her job easy recording in the airport. I wanted to hop on today and get this podcast recorded, thinking about my team has had a lot of things going on in their personal lives lately, and that's just life. That's a team. That's having a team. And one of the things that I always am really cognizant of is trying to avoid causing more overwhelm when I know that there's a lot going on, adding on to it, yet still holding expectations that they're going to get the job done. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, I make sure that if they need time that is uninterrupted, if they just want to take time off, it's actually time off. I make sure that I am explicitly clear with them, like, hey, do you want me to leave you 100% alone today? And because a lot of the team, some are contractors, some are W-2'd, but salaried. So it's always kind of like, are they working? Are they not working? I don't leave it up to guess. I say, hey, do you want me to leave you alone today? And if that answer is yes, they know that it's perfectly great. Like, okay, I'm not going to bother you. I also make sure that my team knows it's okay to completely unplug on the weekends. Now, that may or may not work for your team, but what does that mean? That means that they can ignore Voxer, which is what we use as like our version of like a base camp or that kind of a communication Slack. They can ignore it, or they can choose to respond if they want to. But I dump everything work-related into Voxer, so I can get it out of my head when I need it to get it out of my head. But they can literally silence, just turn off all notifications, take it all the way off their phone for the weekend if they want to be able to create that space and give themselves a little bit of time to not have something buzzing at them. For some of us, that Pavlovian response is so strong that even though we know technically we're off, if we have those dings, those buzzes, it still sets off a cortisol response. And even a minor one when you're trying to unplug. So ask me how I know this. I learned this lesson the hard way a couple of times. Early in my career, I felt the need to be available 24/7, and I reinforced with my own team that I was available 24/7 to them, and I didn't have a separate channel or a separate phone that was work or personal. So everything would come through on text message, and I would never relax because I had a team at one point of 18 direct reports. That's a whole nother episode. Do not recommend that. But I was just constantly bombarded with dings and messaging and wanting to be a great boss and be there for people. I was really committed to making sure that I, was responsive. Well, that burned me out so fast. And I also realized, well, if it's annoying to me and I'm the one that's in the position of authority, it's got to be really jarring when I'm just dropping messages and thoughts and, hey, I just had this thing I was thinking about, to people in channels that they can't silence at sometimes all hours of the day. And I needed to create some space to, like, literally create different channels, different places to drop information so I could allow people to not go through that experience. So when I know my team is tapped out, when I know there's high levels of overwhelm, I just reinforce, like, hey, if you're off, if it's even a technical work day, but you're off, like, feel free to log off. Just let me know that you are, so I can not expect a response, right? If it's not a typical time, then I normally set that. And then my team also knows if something is super urgent, every now and then, in our line of work, it's not common, but every now and then we will have an issue that needs and demands immediate attention. And if that is the case, then that's when cell phone direct messaging or calling on their text, like texting or actually picking up the phone and calling, we do that. However, I never abuse it. None of them ever abuse it. We have a very firm understanding of what, that we respect each other's time off. We respect each other's downtime, time away from the phone. And we're only going to use that if it really demands it. I think we used it maybe once in like 2 or 3 years. So, maybe twice. But anyways, all of that to say, man, it is so easy as the leader to unintentionally pile on more overwhelm when our people are feeling the pressure and the heat. And this is just one really simple thing simple, not easy. Easy takes retraining yourself, right? But simple thing that you can do to help your people to really not feel like they constantly have to be on. And same thing for emails. And that none of this is new. It's just really practical. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you have thought, oh, I hear something that I'm doing that I can maybe change the expectation. Or if your boss has this way of making you always feel on and you're listening to this going, man, I wish my boss would hear this, then you can actually broach the conversation. And a tip for how you can do that is you can say to them, hey, I know not everything is equally important, but I have a hard time knowing, especially when I'm not scheduled to work, if it is truly something urgent, or if it can wait. Can we talk about a process where, or just something simple where I can understand if things can wait or not in a way that I truly can unplug and feel free to step away from the job for, on my time that is actually off. So hope you got something helpful, and it's a great start for a conversation. I hope you enjoyed the airport noise. Where am I going? Well, you'll find out. By the time this airs, you'll know where I have been if you follow along, but I will likely be recording another podcast from the destination, and things happen when I have all this time to think, and traveling, all the sitting, the waiting, gives me a lot of time. And instead of driving my staff nuts, how about I just record podcasts for all of you? All right. Until next time, friends, go manage like a leader.
Thanks for being part of this community of revolutionary leaders who believe honest communication, healthy conflict, and building cultures of acceptance, respect, and trust are not only possible, but non-negotiable for cultivating world-class teams. If one-to-one coaching, engaging workshops, or strategic planning that is actually useful are anything that interests you, make sure to head over to www.transcendleadershipcollective.com to check out our free resources. Confessions of a Terrible Leader is hosted by Layci Nelson and produced by Mary Scott. Music is by Leif Olson and Mary Scott from the band The Number of Months. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, go manage like a leader.